Welcome back to Glamour Unfiltered, hosted by me, Josh Smith. And today we are joined by the divine Billie Piper. I'm super excited because I've seen 2 episodes of I Hate Suzie and I'm obsessed. You co-created it, you're hustling, you're making this vision happen. It's incredible. And to be honest, for the first 2 episodes, I just felt very, very anxious.
I know.
It's like a pressure cooker of anxiety. Is that something you really wanting to create, that sort of uncomfortability?
Yeah, I'm very much interested in anxiety and its effect on us all globally, and as a quite serious problem, and sort of pulling apart why we are all living with this feeling, and having that actually reflected in the work so that it feels like an immersive experience, not just sort of a sat back, oh, they look a bit anxious. It's sort of, purpose built to make you feel like you are, certainly the first couple of episodes, you are in the body and mind of this woman.
How has anxiety played out in your own life?
I didn't think I had anxiety until 7 years ago. I always remembered myself as quite a chilled child, and maybe that was true. Maybe that is true. My mum says that I was a sort of sunny, happy child. But I don't know. I think I'm just coming to terms with the fact that I actually have quite acute anxiety, and maybe I managed that as a kid, or in fact I know I managed that as a kid, and also nobody was talking about it, so you couldn't name it, and therefore it had sort of, I don't know, it can often go unnoticed. But yeah, I was like an obsessive cleaner when I was a kid, in a way that's beyond normal. You know what I mean? Actually, so being not many kids are particularly tidy. I was like, I wouldn't let people sit on my bed in case they creased it, and quite often I wouldn't let anyone come round in case they sort of messed with my room. And then, yeah, I think that progressed. So it's something, I've also seen it a lot in my family, and I continue to see it. So I think it's genetic, combined with the world in which we live. So yeah, I study it a great deal.
Yeah. And I think for you as well, like you've gone through so many different phases in your career and in your life, in this weird public eye pressure cooker bubble. Like, you started out as a pop star, which obviously Suzie does in the show as well. Now you look back at that, it's almost like that didn't even really happen to you, or like what's your relationship with that younger you like now?
I'm only coming to terms with that period of my life. I think it's been pretty much in the dark. Like, I can't remember a lot about it. And I think that's not good. I think there are a number of reasons for that, but mostly just because I worked so hard as a child who should have been sleeping and growing. And but there's also I also experienced some incredible things and saw a great deal, and I don't regret that period of my life, but I'm just, some of those feelings that I had in that period of time has sort of sat dormant, and they're sort of coming out now. And yeah, I'm sort of coming to terms with that. It's certainly not something that I would ever encourage my children to do. I mean, it's kind of disturbing to think of myself at that age in some of those environments.
What kind of things did you let go dormant and now you're like dealing with?
Well, I think the anxiety is a big one. I think it's a sort of, I think I live for 5 years in permanent fight or flight. The schedules are really demanding. Also, I was a teenager full of hormones, so that anyway is a taxing period of in your life, you know. And so I was very aware of my image in a way that wasn't at all healthy. And I just worked so many hours. I've never worked as hard as I did then. So I think there was this unnatural sort of adrenal exhaustion. And that has, I think on some level has, it's created someone who's quite anxious and sometimes a bit depressive. Not a lot, but I can definitely lean into that sometimes.
But the idea of self-acceptance is such a difficult thing to come to terms with, isn't it? Like the acceptance of oneself. For you, what have been some turning points in learning to accept yourself and who you are? They've
always been really like horrible things. It's always like it's the big stressful moments of suffering within your life that force you to look at yourself and change. I mean, it's a horrible reality, but that is my reality. That is, you know. Also, I think having children for me it's made me look at myself a great deal and what I don't want to repeat, or I don't want them to experience, even though I have to accept that I cannot completely control their experience of life, even though I'd really like to. Their moment-to-moment experience of life, I'd love to control that.
You've kind of had to pivot so much. Like, you know, you go from being a pop star to an actress to being your own creator. Have you had to kind of rebel against this kind of like sexism that still prevails in our society, where it's like a woman is seen as one thing? Like, you're a singer now, you stay a singer. You're an actress, you stay an actress. Like, have you had to deal with that as well in order to speak your truth through your work?
Yeah, I guess I have, but I haven't let it stop me. There's a bit, I've noticed a bit of that, but I've been quite bloody minded about doing what I've wanted to do all my life, creatively anyway, not so much personally, but and so I've maybe seen those knocks as challenges. The thing that's kind of disappointing about wanting to do a number of things, accepting that you might fail at those things and then having some successes. I think what's really disappointing is that people sort of brand you as like some ambitious bitch, and that is somehow bad to be ambitious as a woman. That's the thing I find quite disappointing, but also I don't care, you know, whatever.
And I guess it also helps you, it's very therapeutic as well, isn't it? In that sense, because
it gets rid of a lot of stuff for me. You know, these sort of dormant years that we're talking about, I think I, on some level, deal with those dormant years, and I'm not even quite able to articulate what that is or what that means for me. But I know that plays into all of my work. And it's a really healthy experience for me. Like Yerma, which was a really, emotional play. People would ask me if that really messed with my head, but I found it really, I sort of relished it, to be honest. I really needed it.
What do you think you've learned about yourself through playing this character in I Hate Suzie, and also creating her?
That I can be really disassociative. I sort of can do that as the character, but also do that as a person and as a sort of protection. I've noticed that a lot. Something else for me to get anxious about. This is something new for me to examine and take to my therapist. My nude disassociation.
It also just made me think about how many real highs you can get and how many lows you can get in the space of a day.
Right, and especially now. I mean, that's what Lucy and I constantly talk about. You know, it's, you have a device in your hand all the time that is constantly determining your moods, because it's like, oh, I didn't get the job. Oh, my kid has hit his head at school. And it's all coming through all the time, and it's on your person all the time. So you're just constantly dealing with this highs and lows. So we really wanted to make oh, I've got IBS. No one talks about IBS.
No one does. Maybe IBS can become the new mental health conversation. Not to make it sound
the two
funny.
things are linked, obviously. Your bowels and your brain.
If you're so anxious all the time, then obviously that's going to happen. And honestly,
or the opposite.
Yeah, or to clog you up.
Yeah, I was constipated for 4 months of filming that show.
The show is amazing, and I'm excited to watch the rest of the episodes and just keep creating this content because we need it.
Oh, thanks. So I will try.
Yeah, not on here. Well, Billie, I think you're epic, and
I love you too.
The show is amazing, and I'm excited to watch the rest of the episodes and just keep creating this content because we need it. Well, make sure you look after yourself.
You too.
And then hopefully see you in real life soon.
Bye.
Bye.